A few months ago, I worked with someone who refused to take accountability for an oversight. Even when I presented them with clear evidence, aka the receipts, that they dropped the ball, they still clung to the lie, deflecting and defending their position. Now, personally, this is the quickest way to earn a permanent side eye from me, especially when it comes to working with you in the future, trusting your words or your actions. Because it's not always the mistake that kills trust, it's the refusal to own it. Everybody in my family and my close friends know that Candia is going to forever keep the own your BS energy. By the way, your BS is your blind spots and belief systems, but that's a story for another day. Today, I'm sharing the real reason why people refuse to take accountability and what are some practical ways to approach the conversation so you can resolve this issue and move on. Now, here's the thing. On the one hand, I feel sorry for this person because I'm thinking to myself, at your big age, at your position, you still feel the need to appear perfect. But let's unpack this for a second. Do you think we actually should feel sorry for people who refuse to take ownership over their mistakes or oversights or what have you? For me, the short answer is yes and no. Let me explain for a second. Yes, because what I've learned is that when someone chronically avoids accountability, it often points to the deeper stuff, a work culture where mistakes equals punishment, childhood conditioning that linked failure with shame, perfectionism, people pleasing, fear of not being enough. Like, I get it. So, yes, on a human level, I might feel sorry because their avoidance is probably rooted in fear, not malice. But listen, okay, this Candid Conversations. Compassion doesn't mean coddling. I can feel sorry and still hold the boundary. You can still say, I get why this may be hard for you, but we still need clarity to move forward. So let's look at the other hand. The nah, I'm good on never, ever, ever dealing with you. Because the reality is, if you are leading teams or you're working on a team, you're an equal contributor, and you're making decisions that impact others, you don't get to hide behind, that's just how I am, or let it be. Because leadership, working with other people requires emotional maturity. One, we're all human. And it's just not about being smart. It's about being accountable, even when it's uncomfortable. So no, I don't think we have to feel totally sorry for people who refuse to own their part. What I do believe is that we just have to stop expecting them to grow if they're committed to the lie. Growth means doing the inner work so your fear doesn't become someone else's frustration. So while I can feel, again, compassion, I'm not here to make excuses. I'm here to model what maturity and growth looks like on my end. The bottom line is you don't get better by being right. You get better by being honest. Protecting your pride will cost you and people that you work with, people that you are in a relationship with. It's costing you progress. It's costing you growth. It's costing you opportunity. So now let's get practical. How do you have a conversation with this person? How do you respond to people who refuse to own their part, especially when you know you still have to work with or be around them? Listen, I'm going to be the first to admit, before we even get into these tips, I have to take a few deep breaths and a few wool-sighs as I apply a few of these tips I'm about to share, but they work. So, first tip, shift from blame to boundaries. Instead of going down the rabbit hole of you're not taking responsibility, try saying, okay, to move this forward, Or so we can avoid this from happening again, let's set some clarity on expectations. Here's what I'm responsible for, and here's where I need agreement. To prevent future confusion, here's what I'm documenting and expecting moving forward. Is this doable for you? The reminder here is don't beg for an apology, set a boundary. Set a boundary. Now, tip number 2, this is my favorite. Use process as the common ground to move forward. In this specific situation that happened with me and the person who won't own their BS, I resorted to saying, okay, let's improve this system, because one of the things that we can both agree on is that this is a problem. This is a challenge for us both. So use systems, not stories, to guide the conversation. When people won't take personal responsibility, make it about process improvement, not the personal stuff. That way, you're not arguing who's wrong. You are anchoring to the facts and the system that you both will agree to moving forward. So I might say, let's revisit what was submitted, approved, or documented. So we're working from the same set of standards and expectations and figure out how we can improve this. Now listen, if this is hitting home for you, if you've ever found yourself pacing before a tough conversation, second guessing your tone, your life, or replaying what you should have said after the fact, I got something for you. You're going to love this, because these are exactly the kinds of conversations I'm helping leaders like you prep for with my new Speak Without Losing It conversation planner. And I'm excited, not just because it's going to be a printed workbook for you to use before a conversation and even afterward. It's also coming with a smart on-demand AI assistant that helps you prep your mindset and your message in real time. Okay, so stay tuned for that, but I'll just tell you this. Imagine having a Coach K pep talk and a custom script in your pocket before you even walk into that meeting with the person who won't own their BS, and a whole other lot of situations that you may be going through at work. More details soon. Your girl's got you. Anywho, tip number 3, stop trying to fix what they won't admit. And I know this is a hard one, because Lord knows I really wanted to have a come to Jesus moment with this person, but whoo child, I had to gather myself, because the best thing to do during this step is to remind yourself that the only person you could ever control during a disagreement or in conflict is you. Closure is a solo sport. So is accountability sometimes. Moving on to step number 4, document everything. Yes, everything, okay? Assume nothing. A lack of clarity and specificity is a recipe for confusion, missed deadlines, and finger pointing. So, for me, when you're dealing with someone, or when I'm dealing with someone who denies or deflects, your best defense is a paper trail. A paper trail for peace, that's what we're going to call it. And job safety, of course. But anywho, follow up every conversation with a written recap. Never accept vague instructions, fuzzy timelines, or I'll just circle back type energy. So if someone says, get that back to me soon, what does soon mean to you? Monday or Friday by 12 p.m.? Does that sound good? If they say, I'll handle it, what exactly are you handling and by when? We deal with specifics. And here's the thing. This isn't just about covering yourself. It's about creating clarity, accountability, and a shared understanding, especially when trust is shaky. Because listen, if you like me and you're going to side-eye them forever, these are the things that you have to do. Now, step 5. Model what accountability sounds like, even when they don't. Now listen, I know it's a lot. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Be prepared that they may never say, you're right. Here's what I can do better. But you're doing your part. They'll see you model what grown and growth and healing looks like. They may even become envious. Now, okay, let me stop playing. But to model accountability, you might say, I can see where I may have contributed to the confusion. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do differently from here on out. Then stop Don't over explain, don't over function, just demonstrate the standard. So for me, in that particular situation that I was in, I had to say to myself, Candia, as you go back through the receipts, what part of this could you own and make better? So we can streamline this and you can just handle your handle. Successfully dealing with people who refuse to be accountable isn't about dragging them to maturity. Although, listen, your girl dreams about dragging a few of them to maturity. It's really about maintaining your own composure and integrity while managing the impact of their avoidance. So when they won't own it, anchor it, adjust, and advance. Anchor in the facts and your own accountability. Adjust your expectations and methods of communication. Because, see, that's the thing, too. We all deal with people at work and we have expectations. And the hardest thing is having to realize, okay, although I may have been working with this person for a while, I'm going to have to adjust my expectations on who I know or who I think that they are. But it's necessary. You have to adjust your expectations and methods of communication. You may even, it's a little frustrating because when you're adjusting your methods of communication, you now are realizing you have to do a little bit more work, like tracking the conversation and, doing what you need to do to cover yourself. And lastly, advancing the solution without waiting for their apology. Free yourself from having to hear them apologize. And I'll leave you with this. When someone won't own their mistakes, your natural reaction, like mine, might be frustration, disbelief, or the urge to want to prove them wrong. Believe me, I overstand. But here's the thing. Reacting from that place will only make things worse. So ideally, these conversations require the strategic preparation that most people, including myself, miss at times. That is managing your emotional state before you even address their deflection or denials. That is the key to your success. Chasing after them, waiting for an apology, or trying to prove them wrong is wasted energy. They may not be there yet. Okay, y'all, this was a good. I feel like I got a lot off my chest just by turning this into a podcast and an email and all the things. But let me know what y'all think. What's harder for you? Dealing with the mistake itself or watching someone refuse to own it? Let me know. I will talk to you all next time. Talk soon.